be live. Hello everybody and welcome to China for the final 2.5 minutes of qualifying. Apologies for the late stream. We had some technical difficulties with Twitch, but nonetheless you are joined by 2.028, myself and the lovely...
Hello guys, I'm Natty once again back in the commentary box for the Premier Series alongside Toussaint, and yeah, we're here at China for the final 2 minutes of quali, and hopefully, well, it looks like we've got some interesting strategies lined up for the race.
Yeah, certainly. As I quickly flick onto the cars who have got their tyres fitted on right now, we've got Shankster out here on medium tyres. Ran in second place for a while last race before getting the strategy a bit wrong, getting caught up in a couple of incidents, but Shank's now on the medium tyres. He makes his way through turn one then. And we'll make the strategies as you said, Natty. It's going to be interesting to see how many people go for a two-stop, how many people go for a one-stop here, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We've got Kashtang and Joe, top two on the mediums. Kashtang's actually gone out for another lap on the soft tyres, so Joe in a really good position in 7th place. What the soft to hard is going to be a really stretch for these guys to pull off, especially with the tyre wear around this track. It's as bad as Bahrain, if not worse, so it's going to be a stretch. Safety cars will help, so yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, so I believe that this track actually has more tyre wear than any other track on the, or in the game, sorry. Hang on a minute, I don't have a stream for some reason on my phone. Is it up for you?
Yes.
That's really weird, I can't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, well, we'll keep going. So 40 seconds left of qualifying now then. So currently Froza sat on provisional pole. 1 minute 30.5. It is 9 thousandths up through the first sector. I think that's a bit of a glitch there. So it tells us that he's down, but a bit of a half spin there. And could that be the lap done for Froza? He would have lost a lot of time. Will he continue the lap? And don't think he does, because he's half throttle now through the notorious turn 14. Bon Evil then now also on the soft tyres as Isaac Smart retires from the session. As James B. Surreal, I think that was, who went up into 4th place momentarily. But here comes Bon Evil then in the Alpha Tauri, making her way through the latter stages of the middle sector then, through the double left-hander of turns 10 and 11, down towards turns 12 and 13 now. 2 tenths down on her time through the middle sector so far. And she's gone wide, Natty.
Yeah, hugely unfortunate, but yeah, retires the car as well. But Napuda also got himself up into 5th place on the soft tyres. I think, Jamie Sewell's in the invalid lap. Bates is down his time.
Cash Stengel's 9 tenths up on his time now, down the 1 kilometre long back straightaway here at the Shanghai International Circuit. Where does he break? For the big hairpin here, turn 15 after the 100 metre ball down to 2nd gear. Well, short stop through the gears, but locks up that front right now, which is so easy to do around here. And now Cash Stengel coming through the final corner, turn 16. Over the curve, don't run too wide, has run too wide. I guess his laps have been validated there, Natty, but that might not be the worst thing in the world for Cashdown, because he will still be on those medium tyres and crucially inside the top 10.
Yeah, that lap was a really good lap there. It was a 1 minute 29.9, which would have put him on pole position, in fact, unless Guillotine can go quicker. He's on the medium tyres though, so this might be a good lap from Guillotine as he approaches the hairpin. Little lock up on the front right, as most drivers have done in this session. Hopefully Guillotine for him doesn't run wide at this final corner. He done well last season in the Premier Series around this track, and has run wide on it's in another invalidated lap. So Guillotine will be starting in 19th.
And that's hugely unfortunate there for Guillotine, but also for Shankster, who actually bailed on his lap and will start in 20th and last position. Great to see we still have a full grid here for the Premier Series, but now we're going to take you through that full grid, as Froza on pole position then for 1 minute 30.5, F1 Lover in 2nd, Bon Evil 3rd, JMB Surreal in 4th, Napula 5th, GSY Bates in 6th, Hakaniza Moglu in 7th, I'm going to struggle with that name, Cash Jengel in 8th, Joe in 9th, and Thunder rounding out the top 10. Absolute 11, your race runner from last week, just outside in 11th place, first car with free choice of tyre before Spannel, Before You Die, Ben Roberts, Tiger Assassin in the first of the McLarens, Wolfie, Ted, Isaac Smart, Guillotine and Shankster, who rounds out the grid here in China. And we still got them with 3 seconds to go, Natty. So, shall we talk strategy then? I think it's going to be interesting between the soft to hard and maybe the medium to hard, but how many drivers outside that top 10 do you think will we see start on the hard tyres?
I think we might get a 50-50 split of the bottom half of the grid start on the hards. I reckon more drivers towards the back of the field, so maybe Shankster and Guillotine might try and start on those hard tyres. We've seen it work a few times in the past, especially last week and yesterday in the freshman before it started raining. Those runners that started on the hards and went onto the mediums just had such more grip in the final phase of the race. So yeah, strategy is definitely going to be interesting, especially those on the softs. Are they going to try and stretch the hards or a two-stop maybe onto two sets of mediums?
Yes, certainly. Just taking a quick look through the chat here. Hello to Geek Fusion. Great to see you back again. Hopefully we'll have a good race tomorrow in the Super League. Hello to Jutsi Kev as well. Bon Evil saying that China isn't her favourite track. Lucky to be P3. Well, P3 isn't a bad place to be starting, certainly. Hello to Dagio Mace as well, and to Zexify. Cherry G as well, Natty, you might want to go say hello. RC8 as well, and obviously Gav, who's still here as always. Piero, Dutchy saying hi, and Napula. We've got Piero, Dutchy, and Napula. Name a more iconic trio. As the cars make their way up on the formation lap, we can see Natty, he's gone for the hard, and who has gone for the medium tyres outside of the top 10 there. So we have Ben Roberts, Tiger Assassin, Wolfie, and Ted all starting the race on those hard tyres, perhaps seeing how well Savada Mister did yesterday in the freshman. I know Tiger certainly did because he was commentating it, but how well that Savada Mister did yesterday in the freshman on doing a hard to medium alternate strategy, or maybe even a hard to soft, if they can make the tyres last.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They might not get the best of starts compared to Isaac Smart, Guillotine and Shankster behind, so they might struggle in the first few laps. When those hards come to life, they are definitely going to be quick compared to the medium runners around them. So if they can keep up with the likes of Before You Die and Spanner, and maybe even Absolute and Thunder in front on those mediums, just try and stay within the DRS range, then they could be in for a good position when they eventually pit for those mediums.
Yeah, certainly.
Certainly drivers to keep an eye on.
You've got the majority of drivers here, though, on the medium tyre, actually. Cash Stengel and well, even Shanks started on the mediums as well. But I think these soft tyre runners, though, Nax, they're going to really start to struggle around lap, 5 or 6. And that could really be where we see the medium and hard runners come back into this. So the field should stay fairly compact over this first stint. But we've got the whole field in a bit of a Mercedes sandwich here, with Frozer starting in first and Shankster in last, as the predicted pit stop strategy actually comes up there on the screen for us. Lovely to see. So soft, medium for this particular race. And let's see what our drivers can do then now in China. Very long back straight here. As you can see all the cars weaving, trying to get some extra tyre temperature before they make their way round to the grid. And so, yeah.
Yes.
So real
16 turns,
yeah.
And should be a good race.
Certainly, real mix of strategies then, all good to see. We'll have to wait and see how they all pan out as Frozer pulls into his #1 pole position grid slot. F1 Lover alongside him in the very good looking Alfa Romeo. Pulls up into second position. You can see all the cars filing out there, and we're going to be able to see, after 28 laps of the Shanghai International Circuit, who will come out victorious here in China as Shankster pulls up then into the final grid slot on the grid. We're going to hopefully be going to 5 red lights very soon. We'll be starting the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm going to get the UI off the screen for you then, as we're going to go to 5 red lights any moment now. Just wait for the lights to come on. 2, 3, 4, 5. The revs build, and it's going to be lights out, and there go for the Chinese Grand Prix. First getting off to a good start, but look at now F1 Lover on the inside going in towards turn 1. And there's Bon Evil in the Alpha Tauri going real to this contact, and Bonnie's got damage already off the start here, Natty. And Frozer still manages to retain the lead as they go through turn 2 now. So far, everything clean apart from that touch between Bon Evil and the Alpha Romeo in front. As now all the cars making their way through turns 2 and 3. No major crashes as of yet. Still green flag running. You've got Isaac Smart. He's ran at the back. Oh, and there's a Williams going through all the braking boards. I think that's Guillotine going down through turn 6 there. Got 3 wide as well between Thunder and Hakan Nizmoglu now going in towards turn 6 and 7. There's more contact as Before You Die swipes J&B Surreal going into the fast left-hander. He now has front wing damage, and all the cars are trying to file around him now through the middle sector. And can Wolfie get down the inside of the runner, really forming a bit of an obstacle obstacle here for the rest of the drivers to get past, but out in front, Froza hasn't managed to get away from F1 Love. The gap still half a second, but a big gap now, Natty, back to Bon Evil, who's still struggling with that wing damage. GSY Bates in the back of her now, but here comes Napula down the inside of GSY Bates into turn 14 on the inside line. Can he make it work? They're going to go to the outboard shot now. Got the Williams going very wide. That's Guillotine going wide as his teammate GSY Bates now putting pressure back on the Haas. Napula pulls back to the race line, and McLaren going very aggressively to the right hand side of the track. As on the background, that could be Ted. No dive bombs into the hairpin just yet. We're going to go back here to Absolute 11, looking to make a move on Thunder 50-50. These two in the top 3 of the championship. Remember, Absolute 11 actually won the Bahrain Grand Prix this time last week in the Premier Series, but F1 Lover leads after lap 1 then, with the gap only 0.2 of a second now. Can F1 Lover look for a move into turn 1? Just too far back on this occasion here, Natty.
Yeah, I was looking down towards the midfield from the start, and I don't know which one of the Ferraris, but came steamrolling into turn 1 like Danica Kvyat. Both Ferraris collided on the opening lap. That's why Isaac Smart and Ben Roberts were towards the back of the grid. I don't think anyone got, either Ferrari got wing damage, but JMB Cyril in to repair his wing damage. But yeah, very eventful start.
As my interval gaps are frozen there. Apologies everybody, it was going to take a while for everything to filter through. I'm trying to find out where the battles are out on
Thunder
track.
and Absolute going wheel to wheel through turn 6. Thunder on the inside. Can't quite hang it around the outside of Absolute, but Absolute stays ahead for now. I think it's the battle for 11th place, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's come up weird on my screen as well, but I'm looking at Frozen and F1 Lover now. Natty still nip and tuck in the opening exchanges of this Chinese Grand Prix here for the Premier Series as they come through turns 13 and 14 now before going out onto the back straight. F1 Lover taking a much more aggressive line close to the inside curve, and Frozen has now the overtake on, and in fact F1 Lover's got more usable energy than Frozen here as we go down the back straight. Chooses to not use all of it though, and going to stay in the slipstream of the Mercedes now. Can F1 Lover make a move into the hairpin? Hasn't gone for it, but Napula's making moves now, getting past Bon Evil for 3rd position, and Napula puts his Haas up into the podium positions once again here. As we've got the battle for the lead here. Natty's Frozen, F1 Lover going through the final corner now. Frozen goes a bit wide. Would that give F1 Lover a chance now in towards turn 1 in the slipstream of the car in front? F1 Lover going to pull out to the inside as he knows, chooses to stick behind the Mercedes going into turn 1 this time as my interval gaps finally fix themselves, but Frozen goes wide once again. That allows him to cut in sharper for the apex at turn 2, now through turn 3 and up towards 4, short shifting through the gears once again. Both of these drivers so close together. There's a real slugfest really at the opening exchanges of the Chinese Grand Prix for the lead.
Yeah, certainly overtakes as well in the midfield. Tiger getting past Hacker towards turn 1. Spano and Bates had a little bit of a battle before he dies. I'm going to try and get a look for a move down inside of the Renault. Absolute 11 gets a little bit loose on the rear, but Absolute 11 making up places on those mediums, losing out a little bit in the opening phase of this race, but yeah, the front four all on the soft, so those softs have not long left in them.
And speaking of people who haven't got a lot left in their tyres, Joe now closing up onto the back of Bon Evil, who remember is also struggling with that damage on the front right. I thought Joe was going to go for a move there as he got a Ferrari off in the middle sector, and that's Isaac Smart, and he's retired from the session here, Natty. Could this be an early safety car though? But I think DRS has now been enabled as you go on to lap 3. Indeed it has, and this is going to be F1 Lover's best chance to get back up into the lead of this race. Froze is going to try and defend it. Is he? Can F1 Lover get close enough? It's just choosing, Natty, to stick behind for now, work with Frozer here and try and build the scat to the cars behind, but Joe's already made his way past Bon Evil now as well. Our lead car on the alternate strategy with the medium tyres bolted onto that racing point. Thunder also making a move on GSY Bates further down the path as well. We've got a car into the pits, and that's Bon Evil, Natty. Bon Evil's in early.
Oh, Thunder and someone's collided at the final corner. I'm not sure who it was, but it's, I think it was a Williams, I'm not too sure.
Was it Bates? Bates has gone into the pits. Bates. I think Bates tried to go into the pits and he's crashed into Thunder.
And that's hugely unfortunate for Thunder.
Yeah, definitely. Trying to make that alternate strategy, that medium to hard work, I think started near the top 10. So that'll be bitterly disappointing for Thunder there, now down in 16th position. We've got our top two, Natty, separated by absolutely nothing as we make our way through turns 6 and 7 once again. On board now with F1 Lover, just trying to stay out of the dirty air of the Mercedes in front of him. We know how bad the dirty air can be around here, and especially in this game just in general. But it's going to be especially bad now with the tyre wear starting to set in as well. Don't forget, the predicted pit stop strategy is there's a tongue twister for you, so that these guys should be in on around lap 6. They're going to be coming towards the end of the life on those soft tyres now. And in fact, Rose has had a horrible exit coming off turn 13 and through 14 now on towards the back straight. Can F1 Lover make a move for the lead of the race? They're both using the overtake button. Frozen goes slightly defensive here. F1 Lover now with the DRS open. Can he make a move to the inside line? Frozen's going defensive. F1 Lover's going to get there first though. And F1 Lover down the inside in towards the hairpin of turn 15. Can Frozen try and get the cut back now? As again, it's going to be quite a bad angle, but F1 Lover's gone wide. Frozen can't come back at him though in towards the final corner.
Yeah, great batting for the lead. We've got Absolute 11 getting past Spanner and Wolfie getting past Guillotine, both at the hairpin.
And Nakula's come into the pit centre, so the first of our soft tyre runners to make a scheduled pit stop, you could argue. As Absolute 11 now sets the fastest lap of the race here, Natty. A real statement of intent from the German, who currently finds himself in 5th position, just behind Cash Stengel and Joe, in fact, as the top two still battling at it for first position.
Yeah, it's Guillotine's going to try and go for a move on Wolfie towards turn 1. Guillotine's actually got front left end plate damage, I think. And the winner's to front left end plate damage.
Yeah, certainly. Just seen that now on screen as Wolfie's going to be trying to make his way past his fellow Irishman and get that Red Bull up and towards P9 then. Currently now a second between our front two, so F1 Lovers demonstrating that they have stronger pace at this stage in the race.
Yeah, those soft tyres will be starting to go off in the next few laps. Lap 5, I think lap 5 or 6, maybe 7 is the time for the soft runners to be into the pits. Maybe even 8 if they're to do a one stop onto the hards.
Well, yeah, certainly. I remember the predicted pit stop strategy was about lap 6, so we'd see our soft tyre runners come in. Nakula has already come in earlier than that, came in on lap 5, and obviously Bon Evil sustained that damage on lap 1, but now Absolute 11's going to have DRS actually on Cash Stengel. Can Absolute 11 put his Alpha Tauri up and towards 4th position here as you go down a very, very long back straight, just a bit too far away from the Alfa Romeo on this occasion, but Wolfie is closing on the back of Guillotine, remember, who also has that wing damage. Can Wolfie make a move into the hairpin? He's going to go for it down the inside, sends it on Guillotine, but goes wide on exit, and that allows the Williams back through and into P9. Throws it into the pits as well here, Natty, as F1 Lover has stayed out for another lap. Could this be a mistake from F1 Lover, maybe taking these soft tyres a bit too far? Is he just trying to get to that hard tyre stint, Natty?
Potentially, it's what it looks like from the Alfa Romeo driver. It's medium tyres for Frozen, so that's a definite 2-stop for him.
As now Absolute 11 looking at the back of Cash Stengel now. Cash has gone slightly defensive into turn 5 there, and has discouraged Absolute from going for the move in towards turn 6 and 7. The long sweeping left and right handers here that are taken almost flat out, or well, in dirty air anyway, they're normally flat out during qualifying. Through turn 6 now, and Absolute 11 a bit too far away to make a move, is he? Nearly goes for a move there in towards the next corner, but now there's big chance coming up after this 12, 13 and 14 sequence here at the end of the middle sector. He's broken very late, and then he crashes into the back of Cash Stengel there. Good thing that we don't have a realistic rear wing damage, as Wolfie's actually made his way past Guillotine now, but Guillotine coming back down the inside in towards turn 12. Can't make anything of it on this occasion then, but Absolute 11, can he make something of this now? DRS open, hasn't used the overtake button on Cash Stengel though, but Cash gone defensive. Can Absolute make a move here? Just too far away. We're going to go back down here to Shanks to try to make his way past before you dive. Shanks already up 13 positions, Natty, from where he started on the last row of the grid. As F1
it's been a really good start for Shanks with F1 Lover pits, but Tiger tried actually looking for a move down the inside of Guillotine, but the door was firmly shut down at turn 12, and he's lost a little bit of time to the Williams in front, who's on the medium tyres, so we'll have a little bit more pace, more grip on those tyres compared to the hard runners around him. Guillotine's actually might look for a move on Wolfie towards turn 1 to the inside with the DRS.
Gone for it.
And
makes the move.
Yeah, he gets up ahead of the Red Bull, just allows the two McLarens as well to catch up behind.
As Absolute 11's made a move past Cash Stengel here, Natty, on the inside for turn 5. There's almost contact between the two. Oh, as Cash Stengel comes across the track and he's hit Absolute 11 there. No damage done to either car, thankfully, though, as they head through the rest of the middle sets now. Spanel and Shanks are going at it for 5th position. Spanel getting ahead of the black Mercedes there. And Absolute 11 still stuck behind Cash Stengel. This is allowing Joe now to get away at the front here, Natty. The gap between the two, currently 3 seconds, and we know that Absolute's got good pace. Still has the fastest lap the race as it stands, but just can't mount a challenge to Cash Eggle as of yet.
Yeah, Joe in a really good position on those mediums. Well, the guys back behind are battling, they're going to be burning out those mediums, so Joe's going to have more grip coming towards the end of his medium stint. And absolutely levels are tucking behind the slipstream of Cash Eggle with the DRS. Might try and look for a move in towards the hairpin.
Casco's defensive. Abs is going to have to try and work this to the outside if he wants past the Alfa Romeo, and Casco, it must be said, positioning his car very well, but gets a snap of oversteer off the exit of turn 15 now towards the final corner, turn 16. DRS will be open once again though for Absolute as we head down the main straight as Ted gets past his McLaren teammate. Cass has tried to block Absolute 11, but Absolute's going to blast past, and with the DRS into turn 1, doesn't even need to get past under braking. He's on it down the main straight as the two McLarens going at it now. Oh, there's nearly a collision there between the two orange cars. Tiger making his way then back past his teammate and up into P9, trying to chase down Guillotine, who still has that front left end plate damage, Natty.
Yeah, on that previous start finish straight, Shankster got ahead of Spaniel, Ted got ahead of Tiger, Wolfie still almost got ahead of Guillotine actually, and Frozer overtook Ben Roberts, so lots of overtaking in this race so far throughout the midfield. That back straight and in towards turn 14 is definitely a really good overtaking opportunity.
Yes, it seems Guillotine! Guillotine sends it on Jimmy! And what the clean dive bomb that was, even with the front wing damage. Guillotine makes his way now back up into 7th place, and these two having a titanic battle here in the lower stages of the points.
Yes, that was a send and a half from the Williams, Daniel Ricciardo style. But yeah, that wing, he's able to keep up with that end plate damage, so he's doing well. He's 8 seconds behind Spanner though, so a safety car might help catch up, especially for the likes of Ben Roberts, who had that incident in the early phase of the race.
And now, Natty, we're looking at Wolfie and Guillotine still, but Wolfie's going to have the DRS open, go to the inside before we even get to the DRS detection point. But as you were saying, Natty, all that's happening is just extending that gap up to Spanner now 8.3 seconds. It's Ted making a move on his McLaren teammate down the back straight as well, puts these two up into 9th and 10th positions respectively. But they have to be careful here because Thunder now, after recovering from that spin, is right behind the two McLarens. They need to be careful that they don't risk losing a position to the Red Bull driver. He finished on the podium, if you remember, from last race. Ted now picks up a 3-second time penalty, as has Thunder. Thunder now DRS on the back of Tiger into turn. I'm going to look for a move down the inside as Thunder makes a very good move there on Tiger Assassin in towards turn 1, keeps it through turn 2. Nice and clean stuff there with the DRS overtake.
Yeah, just had a look at the gap to the leader, and Wolfie and Guillotine 16-17 seconds behind Joe. So
sorry to interrupt, Natty, but Tiger's coming back at Thunder now. He's trying to close the door into turn 5, but Thunder's still there on the inside line into turn 5 now. Thunder down the inside on Tiger, because I think the Red Bull made a bit of a mistake there and allowed Tiger to come at him through the traction zone. Now into turn 6 and 7 with Frozer behind. Don't forget Frozer on a different tyre strategy to these two. We'll have better tyres now in this phase of the race. Tiger, of course, who started on those hards, is still ahead of the black Mercedes. But yeah, back to you, Natty.
Yeah, I was just going to say, these guys battling on those mediums are hard. Just cost himself so much time as Ben Roberts and Matt Philo going really well in the middle sector. Matt Philo gets the move down up into 14th place, but they're almost a pit stop behind Joe on those medium tyres. So Joe in absolute 11 just having some clean air in front. A really big gap over to these medium and hard runs.
Yes, certainly. As Shanks now, another one of those stuck in this sort of middle pack, you could argue, is trying to make his way past before you die now. Currently the closest battle we have out here on the circuit, although I say that Frozer's now trying to get past Tiger Assassin. In fact, Frozer has gone past Tiger Assassin, under braking, then into the hairpin of turn 15. That's allowed F1 Lover now to get onto the back of the McLaren. F1 Lover has gone to the hard tyres here now, so could that be to the end of this race? No one else has come into the pits just yet. These two, all this entire train of about 4 or 5 cars in Natty, so close together, nearly all on different tyre strategies as well, and it's going to show that this track can provide some very, very close racing here.
Yeah, we got kind of own individual packs of medium and hard runners, as Shankster got the move down the inside of turn 1 on before you die up into 4th place, and we'll be closing down on Cash Denel, maybe trying to look for a podium position in this race, as Thunder and Ted now going wheel to wheel. Ted on the inside, Thunder though able to get the move down up into 9th place. Ted might try and hold it around the outside, but doesn't quite have the acceleration or the traction to get there. You've done that.
Yeah, Thunder cutting through this field like a hot knife through butter at the moment. He's angry after that spin there, that collision that he had with GSY Pace. If you are just joining us, Thunder was running much higher up in the positions. Has fallen down to 16th after a collision at the final corner. No damage sustained though to the Red Bull driver, and he's now continuing his charge back up the field on those medium tyres. In fact, Joe now, and Shankster on Cash Dengel now into the hairpin. We're on the wrong camera angle here with Cash Dengel now with the black Mercedes all over the back of him. Looks like wherever we look, there's a Mercedes and an Alfa Romeo going wheels full at some point, but Cash Dengel in fact dives into the pits. And is that a bit early, Natty?
It's an early pit stop from the mediums, so maybe a massive undercut from Cash Dengel. He might be struggling a little bit with his setup. I've seen a few people in the chat actually saying how he's really losing time to the cars ahead, so it might be for some wing change potentially.
Yeah, we're still looking at this train. Then Frozer on the back of Thunder now, as F1 Lovers lost a lot of positions in the pits, obviously coming up. Sorry, Cash Dengel's lost positions in the pits, coming back out in 14th position and behind this pack of all these dueling cars. That's going to cost him time now as he tries to make his way back up through the pack, as Frozer and Thunder now going almost wheel to wheel on the exit of turn 3. Can Frozer make a move on the Red Bull? Or is he too far back? On this occasion, you would argue that indeed he is. Absolute 11 though, only 1.3 seconds behind Joe here, Natty. In fact, has been slowly closing that gap to the pink Mercedes of Joe. Remember, absolutely trying to make it 2 wins in a row here in the Premier Series.
Yeah, absolutely. He's slowly gaining on Joe. He might try and come in for an undercut. And he might try and undercut.
Shanks are very wide on the exit of turn 14. I don't think that's lost him too much time to before you die behind. But let's go back down here to this midfield group, Natty. They're still so close together here, as now Guillotine's fallen into the clutches of Thunder. Thunder will have DRS. We'd expect him to have DRS on his fellow Irishman down the back straight. He'll have a DRS open then in the Red Bull and the overtake on. He's got more energy than Guillotine has available. Can Thunder make a move into turn 14? It's going to be very far back. He's very late on the brakes, however, but too far back on this occasion. Slight lock-up from Guillotine as well will be all the encouragement that Thunder needs to try and get this move done.
Yeah, naturally as well, getting the move down inside of Ted. We now have the other McLaren up in front to try and get past his target, gets a 3-second time penalty for
Thunder going to the outside now and Guillotine into turn 1. Can he make this move work? He's going to swoop around the outside of the Williams. Guillotine's going to try and fight this though on the inside line, pushes Thunder wide. Thunder's still there on the inside though. There's more contact between the two. Now Frozer trying to make a move on both of these cars. They come out of turn 3 in towards turn 4. You don't think about it, the little kink, as now Guillotine on the inside, Thunder on the outside. Can Guillotine make this stick with the front wing damage? There's more contact. Oh, and there's more contact between Thunder and Frozer. Now that's giving Frozer a chance to try and get around the outside of the Red Bull. Frozer going round the outside into turn 6. What a move from Frozer, and gets his Mercedes up ahead of the Red Bull, and now doing his best to try and get past the Williams of Guillotine, who still has that front wing damage. Just almost even more contact there, so I'm going to run out of breath here.
Yeah, Nabula as well getting past Tiger, but Absolute 11 is just in the DRS range now of the racing point of Joe for the lead, so it's definitely closing in up front, but what a battle in the midfield.
Oh, as Frozen said, he hit the back of Guillotine now. He's not going to need the DRS to get past. He's gone past already. DRS now open for the Mercedes, and the Williams is falling like a rock through water here now, see, as Thunder now on the inside as well. Yellow's in sector 3, and that's Bon Evil. Bon Evil's off, and she's in the grass.
And the leaders have just come into the pits. Joe and Absolute both pitting.
And that's for the hard tyres. Still got those errors in sector 3. No safety car or VSC called just yet then. But let's go back down here to Thunder, who's also come into the pits here. So this is the time to shine for all of our hard tyre runners, surely.
It appears so. Someone, I think that Shanks is just coming out of the pits ahead of Ted, so he's come out in a little bit of clean air. He does have quite a bit of traffic there up in front of Natural F1 Lover Guillotine, Frozer, Absolute 11 and Joe. So
in fact, Absolute 11 trying to make a move on Joe here for the net race lead at the moment. Both of these two crucially here, Natty, coming out ahead of this pack of battling cars. So this is for the net race lead between these two cars.
Oh, it's Cash Dang and Ted are going to wheel through turn 6, and Cash Dang was just able to get ahead of the McLaren into turn 7, a good move from Alfa Romeo, but the field now is so bunched up.
Yeah, certainly, Natty. Those pit stops have actually filtered out our top 2 in and around this track. In fact, they're really close out here on the circuit, as can Absolute Leather make a move before we get to the DRS detection point, decides not to go for it on this occasion. Wolfie, though, has still stayed out on those hard tyres, Natty. It must be said, looking in a very good position at the moment to take some serious points home this evening, as now Absolute will have DRS on Joe. This could be a move for the net race lead. Joe knows it, he goes defensive. Absolute's going to have to go to the outside. Can Joe keep his net race lead on the inside in towards turn 15? Absolute trying to make the move, gets the cut back though on the race. What, they're going to go wheel to wheel now, Natty, into the final corner. Who backs out? Absolute 11 has to back out.
So it's went 4 wide with Shanks to F1 Lover, Guillotine and Napula. As Napula comes into the pit, someone came into the pits, I think it's Guillotine. But wow, that went close going into the head.
Shanks are going down the inside of F1 Lover, as Absolute 11 has made his way past Joe now for the lead, net race lead, but Joe will be doing everything he can to come back at the AlphaTauri, but it looks like Absolute 11 has slightly stronger pace at the moment.
Yeah, Cash Dangle getting past before you die. Napula trying to get round F1 Lover as well, so we've got battles going happening everywhere in this race. It's absolutely chaotic.
Exactly, we can't keep up here in the commentary box, but Joe is still trying to put Absolute 11 under pressure. I'm going to have to prioritise what battles we're looking at on screen. As you can see in the interval, we've got so many cars that are less than a second between each other, as Joe now still behind Absolute 11 through the middle sets is starting to get affected by that dirty area bit. That gap has now fallen to just 5/10 of a second, as Wolfie has gone very wide there, currently leads this race but hasn't come into the pits as of yet there. But Joe now will have DRS back on the AlphaTauri as we head down the very, very long back straight here in China. I don't think Absolute 11 will have DRS. Oh, but we've got a Ferrari off in the middle sector, and that's Ben Roberts round, and he's retired from the session here, Natty, and he's stuck in the middle of the track.
How unfortunate for both. Ferraris are now out of the Chinese Grand Prix, as Cash Deng was going to send one down the inside of Napula. He's come from a long way back. There's a little bit of contact between the Alfa Romeo and the Haas as Wolfie comes into the pits for his first stop.
And now that's crucial though, Natty, given absolute DRS on Joe as well. But Frozer here in third position, don't forget he has another pit stop to make here. Shankster on fresh heart as well. He'll be looking to try and challenge Absolute and Joe for the lead of this race. But I think now we've got a bit of a three-way battle here between Shankster, Joe and Absolute for the win here in China.
Yeah, it's definitely going to go down to the wire, and those guys just slightly off the podium as well are going to be battling for the final 13 laps in this race.
Yeah, as an F1 lover trying to make... we've got Alfa Romeo Haas here, the remaining Ferrari teams are still left in this race, currently nose to tail in the battle for 5th position, but F1 lover currently leading this train, of 4 cars here in through the middle sets. We've got the 2 McLarens as well, just behind this pack. They'll be looking to make their way up the grid, I'm sure, as well. We haven't really seen the fruition of the hard to medium tyre strategy yet though, Natty, as currently Ted and Tiger have stayed out, and they're going to be feeling the effects of that tyre wear, but they're going to be looking to get onto the mediums and start to blitz this pace.
Yeah, it's going to be a good comparison to see where Wolfie comes out in all of this. He's on the medium tyres now, started on those hards, is right behind the Renault of J&B Cyril. He's going to be pushing on those fresh mediums as well. As
Frozer just strayed off into the grass there behind our front two now, as Joe 0.6 of a second still behind Absolute. Can he make a move down the main straight? We'll have a second bite of a cherry in terms of DRS then. So DRS open then for Joe. I think Absolute 11 has a little bit more ERS left, so not like Absolute really to be using so much of his ERS around the mid stage of this race. Usually has a lot more than that. Just goes to show how much he's been pushing in particular. But now before you die, going for a late move on Cash Deng, and that was almost a massive accident going into turn 1, a corner that is very hard to pull off an overtake on, as Tiger's coming to the pits here, Natty, on lap 16. Then it is for the medium tyres here, Natty.
I'm sure Ted will be reacting in the next lap.
And Tiger's stuck in the pits. Was that the... Oh, he's been held in the pits for J&B Surreal, who's come in, Natty. And that's going to seriously hamper Tiger's race here. And he's going to come out in 16th position, a long way behind the next car.
Yeah, he's down in 6th. Hopefully, or he should be able to catch up on those guys battling in the midfield some of which might disappear as Ted's gone wide. I've just seen Ted go wide into the grass. He's lost a lot of time before you died. That's now 6.6 seconds, 6.7.
Yeah, those tyres are gone, Natty. Those tyres are dead on the McLaren. He needs to come into the pits.
And obviously under the same lap as his teammate, so unfortunate for Ted, but there's still this train in the middle sector, and it appears like, well, it looks like they're now all DRS training each other, so it's going to be quite tough for those guys to catch up. But people like Wolfie in a good position with some clean air on those fresh mediums might be able to come back.
Oh, it's certainly nasty as They're getting a bit of a swapper on, coming out of the hairpin, still stuck behind F1 Lover as it stands. But Shankster trying to make a move on his fellow German and Mercedes teammate into turn 1. Does have a DRS advantage on his teammate at the moment, but our gap between our front two has extended by just a little bit as Tiger picks up another 3-second time penalty here as Hacken is Moglu joins him in that camp, picking up penalties for corner cutting. Then we've still got all four of our Ferrari supplied cars in neck and neck as they come down in towards turn 5 once again. Can Nakula go for a move on F1 Lover too far away on this occasion?
Yeah, it's pretty close in the middle. Napier's tyres are 11 laps old. Can he go to the end on those? He pitted really early from those soft tyres. I think that's around lap 5.
The game says it's possible. It says it's possible, but he's been battling so much that you would think surely not.
He might have to come in for another set of softs or even mediums come towards the end of this race. I'm sure he would if a safety car were to come out. It's going to be close if he can make it to the end.
Well, obviously, Nakula, known for his insane tyre strategies, he has a knack for making the tyres last and making these alternate strategies work. Can he make this overtake work though? And F1 Lover now, finally, with the DRS open, has got so much more energy to use than F1 Lover does. Can Nakula go through down the inside? Cash Dengel's gonna send it on Nakula into the hairpin of turn 15, gets it, stops somehow. There's contact between the two, and Cash Dengel gets forced onto the grass by Nakula there, and that might be looked at by the stewards because that looked slightly intentional maybe. But Shankster making a move on his teammate now on the inside into turn 1. Shankster puts his Mercedes now up into the podium positions once again as Cash Dengel and Before You Die now going wheel to wheel, and Before You Die making a move down the inside of Cash Dengel has made the move stick, but now Cash Dengel trying to come back down the inside. He's gonna go wheel to wheel still on the traction zone up through turn 3 now. Before You Die still on the inside, has the inside line, but Cash now gives him the room. Before You Die now down the inside. Cass has sent it again on Nakula, and Cass pushes the Haas wide, and Cass now puts his Alfa Romeo up into 6th position. Nakula falls back to 8th.
Yeah, slightly dodgy move from Cash Dengel, really lapping the brakes, forcing Nakula off the track, and Before You Die was able to sit through on his Haas teammate. I'm sure Nakula's not going to be happy about that. But Cash Dengel now gets himself up into 6th place. Yeah, and
Cash Dengel there cutting across the two drivers' lines. I think that will be looked at by the stewards as well, but that was a very physical battle, I suppose. All's fair in love and war. But now Before You Die will be trying to give a bit of payback to the Alfa Romeo squad with the DRS and the overtake button made available to him, as Cass has gone very defensive very early. Here comes Before You Die. Cass trying to weave to break the slipstream. Before You Die is going to be coming at the Alfa Romeo. Can't really make more than one move. Cash Dengel, he's done more moving under braking. Before You Die's gone round the outside. Nakula now trying to make a move on his teammate, and that was nearly a catastrophe there between the two drivers. Oh, it's Froza's come in.
Yes, Froza comes into the pits, but this battle is getting ever so more heated between these Ferrari-powered cars, the two Hasses and the Alfa Romeo. Wow. And these guys are going to want to keep it clean, otherwise the debrief after the race is going to be interesting. Nakula might go for one Before You Die.
Before You Die very wide through turn 1. Can Nakula make it work around the outside? There's almost more contact.
Wow, these two Haas teammates showing clearly no team orders back at base, as Nakula's going to try and send one down the inside of Before You Die, but Before You Die gets the traction and exit.
Yeah, that was very, very close there between the two hats. I could see Gunther Steiner sweating on the pit wall there as the two hats went wheel to wheel into turn 5, luckily getting out of it unscathed, and they're going to be able to continue along in this race then. But will we see some more harmonious team behaviour, let's say, between the two Alfa Romeos? Kat Stengel on much younger soft tyres compared to F1 Lover. Will we see these two let each other through? Obviously, I think good pals from the Academy, last season have come up together into the Premier Series here, and both racing for Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, the gaps are now opened up due to that little battle between Nebula before you die. Wolfie as well is pretty close behind Spano on those fresher mediums. So he might be able to get the move done in towards turn 14 down near the straight as Joe picks up a 3-second time penalty. So that's 1.6 seconds behind Absolute 11 with yellow flags.
Oh, that's Bon Evil! And this race has just gone from bad to worse for Bon Evil, who started on the second row of the grid, Natty. Now finds herself down in Roll's 18th place as she lets GSY Bates go through, but this race has been torrid for Bon Evil now. Obviously trying to get to the end of the race, but has spun again!
Nebula down the inside of Before You Die, so in towards turn 1 and 2. Before You Die is going to try and keep it in on the inside. And the two Hasses still continue to battle through the first two corners. They're still wheel to wheel in the run down towards turn 5 into 6. As Before You Die is just going to have to tuck in behind Nebula now.
As that battle seems to have been put at rest, as Bon Evil has managed to get her Alpha Tauri spun the back round the right way, and has continued on her way. And Wolfie going for a move round the outside of Spannel. Like Spannel kind of let him have that there in towards turn 6, not willing to put up too much of a fight to the Red Bull on those fresh tyres here, Natty.
Yeah, the gap now 12 seconds to Before You Die in 8 laps. It's going to be tough for Wolfie to close that gap down, and safety car will definitely help him out. But Nebula's tyres, are definitely going to be going off in the next few laps. 14 laps on those tyres, with still 8 laps to go. He's going to have to do 22 laps on a set of hards, so with all this baffling, it's definitely going to require a lot of tyre management.
Yes, certainly. In fact, that being said, Natty, Before He Dies coming back at his teammate now down the back straight. DRS wide open for the Haas. Can he make a move on his teammate into the hairpin too far back on this occasion? But we'll get a second bite of a cherry then. But speaking of second bite to the cherry, here comes Frozen now. He's on soft tyres here, Natty, making his way up and past Wolfie over past Spannel for 9th position. I thought the Renault kind of swerved into the Mercedes there, going back up into the two Haas cars. Before You Die keeps his DRS closed, actually, not wanting to challenge his teammate too much. They need to work together here to try and chase down the two Alfa Romeos in front. And actually, Natty, oh, yellows again. Oh, is that Absolute? Is that Absolute or is that Bon Evil? It's Bon Evil, sorry. I thought Absolute had lost it there, but Bon Evil now just getting out of the way of her teammate. She is now a lap down as Shankster has actually closed onto the back of Joe. I was going to say here before about a little scare for all of you Absolute fans. Shankster currently 1.4 seconds now behind Joe out for second position, and Shankster trying to come back into a race that realistically last week, Natty, he could have won in Bahrain. Currently finds himself back in the podium positions here in China. The last time Shankster raced around China, he actually won the race. So can he continue a 100% win streak in the Premier Series around Shanghai?
There's 1.2 seconds behind Joe, and that gap is coming down. Joe does also have a 3-second time penalty. Not many penalties, only about 6 or 7 drivers picking up time penalties in this race, so Shankster's going to have to hope for Absolute to cut a few corners if he's doing this race. Unless it's a late safety car, you never know. One Evil gets out of the way for the top Joe and Shankster.
As Before You Die and Hacker now, I think, are beginning to work together here finally, and not really going for audacious moves on each other at the moment. But Frost's gone for a move on Wolfie down the back straight now. Those soft tyres really working on the Mercedes, but they're going to go off very, very shortly here, Natty. The softs are not a good race tyre at all round here.
Yeah, Fraser's still got to do 5-6 laps on those soft tyres.
And
so Wolfie might come right back into this controversy.
Yeah, and Spannel picking up another penalty there, down in 10th position at the moment. Still got Before You Die, and Nightflow is our closest battle out here on the circuit at the moment. Wolfie falling back down then to 9th position. Absolute 11 though, still out in front of a 3.4 second lead back to Joe. May as well make that a 6.2 second gap, Natty, because Joe still does have that penalty as Tiger picks up another corner cutting penalty, Natty.
Yeah, Tiger currently running in 13th, and what it appears to be that the hard medium hasn't really worked, to be honest, for a few of those drivers. I mean, Wolfie's made it work up to ninth place, but everyone else only running outside the top 10. So all that battling in the midfield between the hards and the mediums really cost them a lot of time in this race.
No, I was going to say, Natty, I think that's exactly what's happened there. They've spent too much time fighting amongst each other, and that has also worn down the tyres and decreased their pace, obviously, so they haven't been able to use the full extent of that hard tyre. And now all the drivers, apart from Wolfie, who started on that hard tyre, now find themselves out of the points and quite a far long way out of the points.
Yeah, that's just right. Still riding on board with Natfiller. His tyres, well, they've got blisters on the front right, and just comparing them to before he dies. Before he dies, just seeing in so much better condition. Some Natfillers. It's going to be tough for him to get them to the end. He might puncture in the final 2 laps.
We could have an exact lock moment going slowly, but you can see as I've taken off the UI here, we should go on board with 2 Haas drivers now. You can see, if you can see on the left-hand corner of your screen, that little black line going down the middle of Natfiller's tyre there. It shows that he has actually worn through a lot of that tyre. We go back on board now with Before You Die. Is that a car that's gone wide? And is that Bon Evil who's got off? Yeah, it was. Sorry, I think she was getting out of the way of the other cars. I thought there'd been a massive accident there. Sorry, put the UI back on. But if you were able to see the difference between the 2 tyres there, then you can obviously tell that Natfiller is going to start to struggle with those tyres that he has on at the moment. In fact, has got the oldest tyres of anyone on the grid at the moment, the only exception being F1 Lover, who has 15-lap-old tyres. But Cash Stengel here now, he's still not really able to make an impression on his Alfa Romeo teammate. Shanks now still sat behind Shankster. Shankster's still stuck behind Joe, sorry. The gap hovering at around a second. Won't have DRS as of yet, but is currently working on that. The gap 1.0 seconds. Can Shankster get into DRS range of the racing point? Indeed he has. The black Mercedes now chasing down the pink Mercedes, the imposter, if you will, coming through the final corner on towards the main straight. Shankster will have DRS open in the Mercedes car. DRS open then for the Merc down the main straight, gaining now on the racing point of Joe. The battle for second place between these two going to go down to the final 5 laps of this race. Absolute 11's 3.9 seconds up the road now from this battle, all on 10-lap-old hards here. As can Shankster make a move on Joe at any point in this sequence of corners? Not as of yet, but has got so much more energy to use than Joe does now. He's 57% compared to Joe's 14.
And here comes Jane Bixler to the inside of Tigan towards turn 14. The Renault down inside the McLaren gets to move down up into 13th place. These guys battling just for pride, it seems, running in 13th and 14th at the minute.
And currently 10 seconds behind that next car. That's Bon Iver getting out of the way once again, so won't pay too much attention to that then. But Shankster now still all over the back of Joe, 0.8 of a second between the two, as they're going to be going wheel to wheel down the straight, I am sure. 0.8 of a second now. Can Shankster get a good exit and challenge Joe down this back straightaway? But don't forget, Joe does have that 3-second time penalty, so as it stands, Shankster is still second at the moment. DRS open then for the Mercedes, chasing down the racing point as he heads down the back straight, and that's 24 of 28. So good it rhymes. As Shankster not too far away on this occasion to make a move down the inside of Joe. Through the final corner they come then, underneath the massive architecture here, it must be said, in Shanghai. As can Shankster make a move on Joe? You would argue he's just a bit too far behind as it stands here.
Yeah, Shankster so close yet so far to Joe. There is still 3 laps in this race, and Joe does have a 3-second time penalty. Just going to quickly check the race director, and Shankster does have 2 warnings, so 1 more track extension for Shankster, who will be given a 3-second time penalty.
And Shankster's going to go through on Joe. That was a late one down the inside, and Shankster makes the move on Joe into the hairpin. I was not expecting that at all. He's let Joe go back through though, as that was a very zany move from Shankster, and nearly wiped out Joe at that corner. We've seen that happen so many times in this race now, to the drivers just throwing caution to the wind and just absolutely sending it.
And it's a bit late in the race, but it's suddenly starting to get a little bit overcast, so...
Surely
Jeez,
not.
Rain, come on!
If
it rains, that'd be incredible.
Just checking the poll for driver of the day, Absolute 11 getting 62% of the vote there.
So here comes Thunder trying to go round the outside. A spanner went towards turn 8. A really good move from Thunder around the outside of the Renault up into 10th place.
Yeah, as Thunder's been full of very good manoeuvres today in this race, it must be said. Currently finds himself up in 10th, but what could have been for Thunder if it wasn't for that collision in the early stages of this race? As Absolute looks set to take his second win of the season here as he begins lap 26 now. After what it must be said, it's been a really good performance. But the two Hasses are not done, Natty, as Nightpillar is trying to go defensive from before you die, as Nightpillar's got nothing on those tyres left now. They're going to go wheel to wheel into the final corner, and before you dies all over the back of his teammate. Here comes before you die now around the outside. DRS wide open as they're going to go wheel to wheel into turn 1 round the outside. Before you die goes on Nightpillar, and nothing that the Finnish driver can do to respond to that. Natty Moore is there as he tries to come back down the inside at the apex of turn 2 now, and Nightpillar's still behind before you die, but only just as they come back onto this back straight here down towards turn 4. Can Nightpillar make a move down the inside into the hairpin like we've seen so many other drivers do? Is he going to send it on his teammate? Why has he decided to back out of it on this occasion?
Oh, it's got a lot more overcast than the last lap.
Natty, have you just cursed this? Have you just cursed this?
It might rain towards the end of this race.
That'd be
incredible.
Natty's used the lull without using the lull. As now Shanks all over the back of Joe. The gap's 5 tenths the closest that Shankster has been for the last couple of laps now to the back of Joe. The DRS will be wide open. He's got so much energy here, Natty, as Shankster gaining on the time, on the racing point, gaining. Down the back straight, he's getting closer and closer, pulls to the inside line. He's going to go for this, Natty. Just showing his nose to Joe at the moment, just letting him know that he's there and he is a presence to be worried about. Then he's going to have a second bite of the cherry. DRS speaking down the main straight once again, then through the final corner to start lap 27. Here comes Shankster now, DRS wide open on Joe down the main straight. Is he close enough? Joe thinks he is. He's going to go defensive. Shankster going to go round the outside into turn 1. Can he make this move stick? Shankster gets the inside line though for turn 2, and Joe can't. Joe covers it off, sorry, and through turns 3 now up towards turn 4. Can Joe make this move, can Shankster make this move stick on the racing point with just 2 laps left to go, including this one here?
Yeah, I'm sure Shanks is seeing Joe with that 3-second time penalty. He might want to get the move done on track as well, but he might opt to settle in behind on track and get second place up to the end of the race, but he's one warning away from a penalty, so he might not want to risk anything as the two Hasses almost colliding in towards turn 6, naturally late on the brakes, but yeah, these guys not giving up in this battle for 6th place as well.
Certainly, and thank you to Geek Fusion for subscribing through Prime. If you want to give us a quick sub for your Twitch Prime subscription, that would also be fantastic. Thank you to Geek Fusion once again for doing that. But Shankster now is a little bit further behind Joe, coming down to the back straight now for the penultimate time then. DRS will be wide open for the Mercedes once again. Can Shankster make a move on Joe? He's running out of opportunities, it must be said, Nancy. Is he going to go for it? He is going to go for it! Down the inside at the hairpin. There's almost contact between the two. No damage done, I don't think, as Shankster just manages to back out of the move at the last second there and hasn't caused damage to either car, thankfully. But now DRS open once again down the main straight. Can Shankster make a move on Joe? Joe doing his absolute best to try and stay ahead of Shankster in this battle for second. It won't matter as it stands on penalties though, as Joe looks set to fall behind Shankster on penalties through turns 2 and 3 now. Can Shankster make this move on Joe? Going to go on board with the Mercedes. We couldn't see him as he came round turn 3 through turn 4. Now Shankster looks to the inside, going to duck to the inside. Shankster making a move down the inside on Joe. Will he force him wide? Joe has to slot in behind the Mercedes. Going to come back at him though on the outside into turn 6. They're going to go wheel to wheel on the final lap of the race. Joe swooping round the outside. What a move that was. But now Shankster coming back round the outside of the racing point, later on the brakes into the next corner, just about avoids a collision there as these two go absolutely hammer and tong on the final lap of the Chinese Grand Prix.
And incredible battling for second place, even though Joe does have that 3-second time penalty. It's great to see Shankster still trying to fight this one, as well as Joe defending and attacking beautifully in the end of this race. Like Gavra said in the chat, a few more laps, please, to add on to the end of this one. It would be incredible. With
but
the
here comes Shanks now on his final chance. Joe hasn't gone defensive. He did go late, though he doesn't. Shanks are down the inside now in towards turn 15. Can he make the move stick? He can. But let's now go back up here to Absolute 11, who rounds the final corner. Going to make it 2 wins from 2 races. And Absolute wins the Chinese Grand Prix.
The final corner.
Joe makes Shanks the trash is out. Oh no! And Joe back round the outside of Shankster. Shankster crashes at the final corner, which means F1 Lover is on the podium. Castello is 4th, before you die 5th. Napula 23 laps on the hard to take a bow in 6th. Frozer in 7th. Wolfie's going to finish in 8th. Thunder's 9th. Thunder finishes P9. It's going to be Spannel. He rounds out the points finishes, but tight Natty. Shankster on the final corner spins out and retires from the Grand Prix. What drama!
I can't. I'm speechless. I'm honestly speechless. He's done a me from my second season. Except I didn't retire. I can't.
I cannot believe that. And Shankster will be bitterly disappointed with that. That 2 races in a row now, Shankster's run in the podium positions at some point in the race has gone even crosses the line to round off our finishes here. But that's 2 races now where Shankster's run in the podium and hasn't scored any points. But what a dramatic end to that race. Had constant action all the way through, but wow.
I was riding on board with the Mercedes, and he just lost the rear and exit. And then, similar to what I done, similar to what Tim done in Abu Dhabi as well.
Oh, as Tech is putting a poll in the chat saying, can Joe win the race? People said no. Well, he didn't win the race. This man, Absolute 11, won the race with the Michael Schumacher avatar there, and is executing what, it must be said, looks like a very successful Premier Series Championship campaign, looking to follow in the footsteps of, well, I mean, myself and Natty in this series. But yeah, Absolute 11 doing really well. They're making it 2 wins from 2 races. Let's take you through your entire grid here. So Absolute 11 takes another win here in the Premier Series. Joe takes his first podium of the year in 2nd. F1 Lover, the first Ghanaian, I believe, to stand on the podium here in 3rd. Cash Stengel in 4th. Before I can't even do this right now. I'm still in shock. Before you die in 5th, Napula 6th, Frozer 7th, Wolfie in 8th, Thunder 9th, and Guillotine scoring Williams' first points of the year in 10th. Spannel in 11th, JMB Surreal 12th, Hakam Nizamoglu on his debut in 13th. Tiger Assassin will be disappointed that that strategy didn't pay out for him. He's in 14th position. Cheersfight Bates 15th, Ted 16th. Then we get to the first of our did not finishes. Shankster, Bonneville still being classified. Ben Roberts and Isaac Smart then, who didn't make the end of the Grand Prix. But that was insane. That was insane.
That was something else. The end of that race, we had the 2 Hasses and the Alfa Romeos battling, Joe and Shankster, and Shankster just dropping it on the final corner, and chance of rain at the end as well. That was just absolutely incredible. And I'm sure if the Super League guys are watching, it turns out the hard to medium isn't as effective as it might have turned out to have been.
Yeah, certainly. Just seeing here on my screen, Ted picking up 15 seconds of time penalties there. I think the problem is that they spent so long in that first stint battling each other that it kind of just messed up their own race strategies, and that was the downfall of their strategy. Bond was saying she felt like Raghunathan. That wasn't that bad. You didn't. At least you knew how to reverse your car out of the out of the escape road, unlike Mahavir did. Nakla saying racing with the pad is so hard. Yeah, it's definitely one of the more challenging things to do. Aston wasn't as OP as we thought. Tech has bet 30 points for Joe to not win. So looks like Tech has got his wish there. But wow, that was a crazy, crazy race, and we're getting ready to do it all again tomorrow in the Super League. The fastest drivers in F1 2020 here on Gavra Racing will be battling it out around Shanghai tomorrow. And join us next week in the Premier Series, where we will be in Zandvoort to see if Absolute 11 can make it 3 wins from 3, or can someone else stop his reign of terror over the Premier Series. But for me and Natty, it's been an excellent race. Thank you to everyone who's joined us in the chat, and we'll see you guys all next week. Thank you everyone for joining.
See ya.